Hey everybody, how's it going? Um, we missed you. We've been gone for a couple weeks. Hopefully, hopefully you missed us as much as we missed you. So we had just personal stuff going on, and just honestly didn't have time. We actually put time into the show, believe it or not, but we just didn't have any time to put into the show. So we haven't been here the last 2 weeks, but we're back. It's 6 o'clock. It's Monday. And it's time for AEW Weekly, presented by No Bones About Wrestling. I'm your host, Asa. Right here is my permanent co-host, Kay Fabulous.
Hey.
And we got a good show for you. Of course, Forbidden Door is how many days away? 6 days from now.
Yep. It's so exciting.
It is, yeah. It looks like another awesome pay-per-view that AEW is going to put on for us. They've been since World's End, they've been on a string of awesome pay-per-views. All-time great pay-per-views, I think. Some of them, a couple of them. Revolution and, what was the last one? Double or Nothing?
Yes.
They're two of the best shows I've ever seen.
They also had Dynasty after Revolution.
Oh, correct. Yeah, correct. Okay. Three of the best shows I've ever seen. For any company, really. But Forbidden Door, my point was Forbidden Door, 6 days from now. We're going to talk about it, a little tonight. Because things, are leading there, obviously. All these angles are leading that way. But we're not going to talk a lot about it, like predictions and match previews and things like that. And that's because Thursday night at 7 o'clock, we're doing a Forbidden Door preview and prediction show. So check us out then. It will be at the usual places, on X, on Twitch, and on YouTube. It'll be live, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday. Forbidden Door preview show. So make sure to check it out.
Before we get started with This Week in AEW, can I just make an observation about Forbidden Door?
Okay.
So, I've never been disappointed by a Forbidden Door, but I've also never particularly been excited in the lead up to Forbidden Door, because other than Will Ospreay and Zack Sabre Jr. and maybe Okada, I didn't really know most of the wrestlers that wrestled in Forbidden Door from New Japan. And AEW in the past has done a shit job of showing us non-world wrestling viewers who these people are and what they do. And I feel like this year, not just as my own personal knowledge of other wrestlers grown, but I think just they overall have done a really great job of at least showing video packages at a minimum. But even beyond that, most of the wrestlers have at least shown up, and we've gotten to see them. And it's been a really nice change. So props to AEW for fixing one of the things I didn't like about their company.
Yeah, definitely. I hear what you're saying about Forbidden Door, and a lot of the wrestlers you probably have heard of in the past. In the past 2 years or whatever. There's a lot of wrestlers where if you don't watch New Japan, there are guys you probably heard of but maybe haven't seen before. Yeah. Maybe you've seen one or two. If you don't watch New Japan, we don't watch New Japan. I've seen a show here or there, but we're not, followers of New Japan. Yeah, I agree. They've done a very good job getting us, letting us know who these CMLL guys and women are and who the New Japan guys and women are. So
it was also nice when they first formed the partnership with CMLL that they front loaded some of the introductions. Hechicero, for example, who's going to be wrestling MJF. We've seen him 4 or 5 times in the ring at this point, I think. And that's really nice. And
I'd like his magical flaming ball trick.
And then he stopped, and I wanted, maybe he's just saving it for his Forbidden Door entrance.
I hope so. I want to see it again. It was cool.
I want to see the fire. Yeah. It's just, I like that they did that with CMLL. It would be nice if they did that with New Japan, a few months before Forbidden Door, because they know it's going to happen. It's an annual pay-per-view.
Yeah, I haven't seen New Japan involved quite as much as CMLL.
Well, we've had Jeff Cobb come over and wrestle, but he's not on the Forbidden Door card.
Yeah.
So.
And they might add him. You know, he kind of made an open challenge for his New Japan television title.
Oh, did he? I missed that.
He did a couple weeks ago. But haven't seen him since then.
Mm-hmm.
But he may get added last second. We'll see.
Is he the one that got that off of Zack Sabre Jr.?
I think so, but I'm not sure on that.
That is the world's ugliest belt.
I like it. It looks different.
No, it looks like a Wonka chocolate bar.
It does.
With like a strap attached to it.
Yes, it does. That's funny. All right. Well, just a little talk about. Were you done?
I was done. Thank you. Sorry for. I didn't want to interrupt our like actual show with those thoughts, but I felt like they were worth noting.
I got you. Well, there you go. A little talk about Forbidden Door, and we'll talk about it, like I said, a little more throughout the show, but a lot on Thursday. And if you're watching the show, you know, you can comment as long as you're nice about it. You know, you can disagree. We can talk about it as long as you're nice about it. But we love people commenting. We love to hear from you, and we love talking to you. So feel free to comment during the show. But we are going to start here with the television rundowns from this past week. And AEW Dynamite, June 19th. Juneteenth. You know, national holiday now. And some people blamed it for AEW's rating. This was the worst rated Dynamite in the history of the show at its normal showtime. So that's not good.
I feel like blamed it seems super negative. I just think they used it as a reason to help explain why the ratings were so terrible.
Yeah, I mean, the two biggest things in my eyes are Juneteenth was happening. So, you know, a lot of people were having parties or, you know, barbecues or whatever.
Or watching the Juneteenth Kendrick Lamar concert.
Right, I heard that was a thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. Like, a bunch of people watched that.
I don't know. I've heard of him, so, yeah. I heard it's very popular.
Heard of him, so he must be popular. My students must have talked about him at some point.
I don't know. That's all I know about him.
Yeah.
What else? And then there was an ESPN, maybe it was like on ESPN, but there was a college baseball World Series game that got like 1.9 million viewers or so, which is pretty good for a college baseball game. So there were a number of things unusual that they all happened on the same day going against Dynamite. I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just trying to observe what might have created that rating, you know, because it was a good show. Yeah. I thought it was a very good show.
Very good show. Very terrible rating. But if you looked at the rankings,
it was not a terrible rating, just a terrible rating comparatively to what they've done in the past. Yeah.
But they were still number 3 on cable. Right. So I think at that time, not as many people were watching television.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, well, hopefully it goes up this week, and hopefully it doesn't go down from there, because
oh my God,
that's not good.
Don't even put
and
that
you know,
into the universe.
We're in the middle of, from what we hear, Tony Khan is still talking out media rights deal with
Discovery.
Warner
Brothers Discovery.
Whatever it is, Discovery, Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers Discovery.
Warner Brothers Discovery. Oh, you're right. Okay. Yeah. He's still talking out a media deal with them. So the ratings aren't, you know, they really just set a price for sponsors or advertising. I'm not sure if they're so meaningful nowadays. Not as meaningful as people treat them on the internet. Definitely not. But I'm not sure how valuable they are these days, with, you know, so many different options and streaming and this and that and the other. So anyway, so hopefully he'll get a good TV rights deal, media rights deal.
And hopefully it will be for a service that we already have, so we don't have to add a subscription.
Yeah, because we're already going to have to add Netflix for WWE Network,
no.
which I don't like supporting them, but
not Netflix, WWE.
Yeah, WWE. But I mean, I can't help it. They have like every fucking federation in the past, all their stuff. You know, I'd be getting it for the library, not the WWE, not the current stuff. But I mean, there's just too much good on that to not get it. It's like a dream, so gotta get it. But you know, they're talking about Tony Khan maybe going to Max, which I think is what the app is called that has HBO and Cinemax in it.
Yes.
So that's confusing as hell.
Well, HBO has changed the name of it like 4 times. Like it was HBO, and then it was HBO Go, and then it was HBO Now, and then it was HBO Max, and now it's just Max.
Okay.
I believe.
All right. HBO Max makes sense. But anyways, some people are talking about AEW possibly going there. We'll see how it all shakes out. I don't know if there's when the deadline is. I know everyone says that Tony Khan, that AEW's contract is up in the next couple months here.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Next several months, I should say. They say it's up this year, before the end of the year, I believe. But I'm not 100% sure on the date, so I don't, I'm not going to guess. All right, let's get to Dynamite. June 19th, in Fairfax, Virginia. Opened up with a commercial-free match. Former world champion MJF taking on Roosh. It was a good contest. Both guys were going for it, and there's some hard blows. It was a very physical match, I thought.
Yeah.
Very bruising kind of match, and we saw both men, break out some painful looking stuff on the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
And MJF pinned Roosh after a brain buster. And this was a good match. 4 bones out of 5, I gave it. And then we learned that MJF is scheduled to face Hechicero at AEW Forbidden Door. So we're going to talk about that matchup a little more tonight.
He's from CMLL.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm not familiar.
Up next, we had a Kyle O'Reilly, Orange Cassidy, Ring of Honor World Champ Mark Briscoe, and Dante Martin promo. 4 guys. And Briscoe was fired up, but he was not the story of this promo. The story was, as Kay is doing, the story was Kyle O'Reilly. If you haven't seen this promo,
you have to watch it.
You got to see it. Again, it's June 19th, AEW Dynamite, because he was just making ridiculous faces.
Oh my god! Like
changing them like every 2 or 3 seconds. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
And like Renee was getting so distracted because she was interviewing Mark Briscoe, and Kyle O'Reilly was just standing next to them because they were, being a united front or whatever. And like Renee kept looking over at him, trying not to laugh. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And there was no explanation given, and the interview just like ended.
Yeah. I guess he was just trying to be funny.
It was funny. It worked. It makes me like him way more than I already did.
Yeah, I agree. And during the promo, Jack Perry just walks past them and doesn't really say or do anything. Just walks past them. So I don't know what was up with that.
Well, he's going to be facing Mark Briscoe in the ladder match.
A couple of these guys.
Yeah.
In the ladder match.
Yeah. So I think that was it. I think it was just like, just going to walk in front of your interview.
I got you. That makes sense. I hadn't put 2 and 2 together, but that makes sense. Up next, we saw International Champion Will Ospreay face-to-face with AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland and, of course, his manager, Prince Nana. Ospreay says he can beat Swerve himself. He doesn't need the Callis family. So Ospreay's still in the Callis family. And the Callis family was backstage watching this head-to-head face-off on a monitor. And Swerve and Ospreay kept getting into more of a progressively heated exchange. And eventually, Swerve mentioned Ospreay's sons by name, which, if you know the wrestling world, the worst thing you can do to someone is mention that they have a family, or mention that they have a wife, or mention that they have kids. And they'll be like, oh, don't go there. That's the worst thing you can do to a pro wrestler. At least the male pro wrestlers. That's the worst thing you can say. And then eventually Swerve Strickland actually said Ospreay's sons' names.
Name. Singular.
Oh, okay.
He only has one son.
Oh, okay. And
Al is his wife.
who?
Allison, he called her Al.
Oh.
That's his wife.
And then Ospreay runs back into the ring. He was outside the ring at this point, and he runs back in the ring. The two men get right in each other's faces, and it looks like we're gonna have a brawl. Did they brawl?
No.
I didn't think so.
They just did that thing where they pushed their foreheads against each other.
Yeah. But they're setting up this match well. Nothing too world changing behind the build up to this match. Just a good little feud. It's, I wish they'd been a little more creative in the build up.
I'm actually really okay with it.
Really?
Yeah, like I don't normally. I guess I normally prefer like a story, but with these two, I feel like, especially because of how Ospreay kind of like landed in he won the opportunity. It wasn't like a slow build over time.
Mm-hmm.
I like that it's like just about the belt and who's the best wrestler.
Yeah, I got you.
Kind
of makes sense.
And that both of them are claiming that they love the company and the business more, and they're going to prove it to each other. And I think that's enough for me, especially coming off of like Swerve's stuff with Hangman and some of his. I feel like it would be too dramatic to have another crazy storyline involving him right away.
That makes sense. I can understand that. I still wish they would have built it up a bit more. They still have Dynamite this week to build it more, but
this was good. I'm normally not a big face-to-face in the ring fan.
It was good.
And I really liked this.
Yeah, I don't mean to make it out like it wasn't good. I just, like I said, I wish they'd gone in a different direction with this feud, but it was good. It was good.
I thought it was excellent.
Up next, we had the 8-man tag team match with Zack Sabre Jr. Teaming up with Ring of Honor World Television Champ Kyle Fletcher, Konosuke Takeshita, and Roderick Strong. And that's a damn good 4-man team right there, man.
Yes.
And they took on Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, Ring of Honor World Champion Mark Briscoe, and Dante Martin. And what's up, Antonio? How are you doing, man? Always good to have you watching. We appreciate it. So yeah, the 4-man match, it was wild. It was excellent. I mean, you heard you heard the 8 names I just said.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody in that is not just good, but an excellent wrestler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All 8 of them. And man, they went for it in this match. We saw this, that, and everything in this match. It was awesome. Eventually, though, Orange Cassidy hit an orange punch on Roderick Strong and pinned him. And so Orange Cassidy, O'Reilly, Briscoe, and Dante Martin got the win in the big 4-on-4 match. This one I gave 4.5 bones out of 5. This was the best match on Dynamite, I thought. The 4-on-4.
That's what I said, and you didn't agree with me, and then you changed your mind.
Did I?
Yeah, in the watch along you said it was Claudio and Pac, and I said you were wrong, and it was the 4-on-4. But that's okay, because we paid more attention when we watched it. We watched the show twice normally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was better. Yeah, it was better.
It was awesome.
Let's see. And then after the match, Jack Perry comes in, attacks Dante Martin. Mark Briscoe goes after Perry, and then Takeshita goes after Briscoe. And they fight to the back.
Is Takeshita in that ladder match?
He is, I believe.
Okay, that makes sense.
I believe he's in it, and if not, he's gonna be in it.
Yeah.
A lot of people think he's the favorite for it. Takeshita, excellent in the ring, has not won a title in AEW yet. Has not had a ton of success except beating Kenny Omega twice.
Yeah. But has had very high profile matches.
Yeah, definitely.
In which he lost, but did really well.
He fought Will Ospreay at Revolution in one of the best matches I've ever seen. It was the best match I've ever seen in person. Was Ospreay beating Takeshita at Revolution. Amazing. So up next, we had Stephanie Vaquer, the New Japan Strong Women's Champion. And she had a promo against Mercedes Moné. They're fighting for Mercedes TNT Championship at Forbidden Door. Or wait, is it for both?
It's for both.
It's for both.
Both
Excuse me. Yeah,
online.
it's for both titles. So if we have a clean finish, we'll have some woman walking out with 2 big belts here. And the New Japan Strong title is the title that Mercedes was supposed to win. What was that, 2 years ago? One or 2 years ago. 1 year ago. Mercedes was supposed to win when she fought Willow Nightingale, but Mercedes got injured, knew it was a serious injury. She calls an audible in the ring and says Willow needs to get the win. And Willow got the win, got the belt. And so now Mercedes is back, and she's chasing the belt that she missed out on, the belt that was almost in her hands.
Plus, that was the inaugural championship match, you know,
right.
so that, like, she would have been the first ever, which is kind of a big deal, you know.
Mm-hmm. So that's cool. You just got a ready-made story for that.
Mm-hmm.
And up next, we see Roosh in the locker room after his loss to MJF. Don Callis comes in and speaks Spanish to him. So I don't speak Spanish. I don't speak it much at all. So I have no idea what he said.
I told you what he said.
What did he say?
He said the Callis house instead of the Callis family.
Yeah.
Oh crap, what did he say? He said Casa de Callis, like the House of Callis. Basically, they want Roosh. I forget what his exact words were. I told you when we watched it.
Fucking told you that.
I told you what they said when they said it. I don't have a memory. You should write it down. It wasn't difficult. It was like level 1 Spanish. I don't speak Spanish, but I took it in high school. It's like Spanish 101 level.
So Roosh, of course, was in that. Thank you for watching, Antonio. We appreciate it always. So Roosh was in that faction. What were they called? La Faction Ingobernables. Yeah. And that they were going to push them. It looked like they had these mini little movies. Shot.
Yeah.
It looked like they were shot on digital film.
Yeah,
maybe.
It was really good quality.
They're really well done. Them just like driving cars around and stuff like that, just doing dangerous, badass stuff. But what happened? Preston Vance was going to be in it.
Preston Vance was in it. Preston Vance, Drilistico.
And Preston Vance moved, or excuse me, left the company.
No, you're doing stuff
wrong. What?
No. So it was Roosh, Preston Vance, and Drilistico, and then Jose the assistant was their manager. Roosh got injured, and then they stopped using Preston Vance and Drilistico while he was injured, and then they fired Jose the assistant. As far as I know, I think Preston Vance and Drilistico still work for the company, but they didn't use them at all after Roosh was injured.
You should check that on the AEW roster page if Preston Vance still works for them, because I don't know. Anyways, my point is, Roosh, they had a faction where he was going to be a big part and maybe the leader if they were going to have a leader. But that as Kay just told us, it got messed up. So now we may see Roosh in the Callis family and maybe playing a big part for them. So big things maybe on the horizon for Roosh. He's very talented and very physical, very hard hitting. At least the stuff looks hard hitting, which is the point of it all, to make it look dangerous and be totally safe with your opponent. So
Preston Vance is still listed on the AEW roster page, and he has listed as belonging to La Faction Ingobernables still. So who the fuck knows?
Yeah. Well, if he's still on the roster page, he's still in the company, I assume. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Yeah.
I was wrong there. Sorry about that. Next up, we had the AEW World Tag Team title eliminator match, meaning, of course, if the challengers win, they get a shot at the tag team champions. And it was the champions, of course, the Young Bucks, the EVPs, members of the Elite, and they took on the Acclaimed, just the tag team, of course, with Max Caster and Anthony Bowens. And Caster comes out and he's doing his rap as per usual. And after about a line and a half, the Young Bucks, they cut Caster's mic. And so he was pissed off. The fans booed because it got cut off. And that's exactly the kind of stuff we were talking about. We want the Young Bucks to do. Just petty shit. Just getting on everybody's nerves and all that. So I like it. I liked it. And then they show on the screen, Okada, the Continental Champion, and he's pressing buttons on some machine.
Looks like a computer from the 90s.
Yeah, it looked like a computer from it looked like
89.
Yeah, like the 80s. But he's pressing just random buttons, and then he pretends like he's crying like this, and then says, "Sorry, bitch." So this was funny.
It was funny.
I don't like how Okada's thing now. He's one of the biggest wrestlers in Japan. I don't like how his thing now is him saying "bitch" to people.
Well, you had to tell me it was a thing now because I hadn't noticed a recurring thing with it, but I think it's funny.
Well,
I'm fine with it. It hasn't distracted or detracted from his wrestling at all, so...
No, not at all.
That's fine. He's in a silly faction. He should have a silly thing to do in his silly faction.
They're silly. So eventually, the Young Bucks, they're wearing their sneakers, which I need to do a review of. That may come tonight. If not tonight, I promise I'll do it tomorrow. I said last week I was going to do it. I have them sitting beside me here.
I haven't seen them yet.
And I haven't done it. So, I'm waiting to unbox them and I'll do a review of them. Like I said, either tonight or tomorrow. My point was the Young Bucks, they pump up their shoes. And then they hit the super kick party. They get a 2 count only, shockingly. I thought that was the end of the match. And the Acclaimed end up getting one of the Bucks down. And Max Caster comes off the top rope with his mic drop, elbow drop. And the Acclaimed get the pin. And so at some point in the near future, the Acclaimed get a World Tag Team title shot.
Because this was an eliminator match. Can I say my thing about eliminator matches now real quick?
I guess.
It's stupid. It's a stupid name. It's a stupid name, and it's confusing. So in Ring of Honor, they call them proving ground matches, which they don't have to use that in AEW. But by calling them eliminator matches, I know that the Young Bucks are the tag team champions. And yet, every time they mentioned that this match was going to happen and that it was an eliminator match, I was like, why do the Young Bucks have to compete for the titles when they have them already? But then Asa pointed out that it's because, which I know what an eliminator match is. I know it's to get a chance at the belts if you win this match. But it's just a clunky name. Because to me, an eliminator match is when you have a 4-way tag or something where you're trying to compete for slots in the finals for something for the tag belts.
Well, as I said, that would be an elimination match. But
yeah,
I
but
hear
they're
what
too
you're
close.
saying. I hear what you're saying.
And I'm not a casual wrestling fan, so for casual wrestling fans, if I, knowing what all of these things mean, am still occasionally confused or caught off guard for a second, they have to be confused.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's not a good name for what it is.
Yeah.
I don't have a suggestion as to what it should be called, but eliminator match is definitely not it.
Yeah.
So,
not a number one contender match.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
Yeah.
So up next, we have an AEW Women's World Title contract signing. And of course, that is Timeless Toni Storm defending her belt against Mina Shirakawa. Let's see here. Back going to the Bucks, going back real quick. We have Steven Chambers here saying perfect spot for Hangman to help the Bucks retain, especially AEW coming to Virginia. up in Hangman's home state. Yeah,
That's a good call. I expected him to be the wild card.
I think that's what
But
a
I
lot
mean,
of people are expecting.
But he
Yeah,
could do both easily, if he's already there and then he shows up in the wild card.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's how he got chosen to be the wild card. If he helps the Bucks out, that they give him that slot.
but no, Steven's right. I think and AEW needs to sell some tickets. So if they can bring Hangman back in his home state, and I think that would sell some tickets, that's nothing but good for AEW. Yeah, that's been the big problem is in some cities, not all cities, in some cities they can't sell tickets. We went to Revolution, the pay-per-view in Greensboro, North Carolina, and there were I forget exactly how it was set up. That's the biggest arena on the East Coast as far as how many seats you can have in it, how many people you can have in it. And I think they sold out with like 18,000, 17,000 tickets or something like that.
Yeah, but Revolution was the exception. Like, we went to Collision in Greensboro, and that didn't sell out.
Yeah. But like I said, in certain cities, no, I think Collision might have been in Winston.
No, that was in Greensboro.
Okay.
I had to drive.
But in some cities, they can sell tickets and sell out. Yeah. In some cities, they just can't. But going back to Steven's point, I agree. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I think Hangman is going to end up in the Elite when he comes back. I think, a heel run would be good for him, I think. I also think AEW needs some baby faces.
A limited supply.
They don't have a ton, but, big baby faces. So he could do that as well, but I do think he's coming back to being the Elite.
Yeah.
Either way, I hear about him coming back before Virginia. Yeah, you're definitely right about that.
Yeah, I don't think one of the last things you do on television can be drink someone else's blood in the ring and then show back up immediately as a baby face. They got to do some work before that's he's ready to make that transition. I think.
Maybe. But so, we're having the women's world title contract signing. Toni Storm versus Mina Shirakawa. They talked for a long time. It went on. It was pretty entertaining, but they talked for too long. Eventually, the Outcasts come in and attack. And then we have a whole schmoz, and everyone's fighting. And Toni Storm, Mina Shirakawa, and Mariah May seem to be in some sort of lesbian love triangle that's going on the shows. Don't look at me like that. They're kissing each other. They're rubbing tits on tits. Don't look at me like that. That's lesbian stuff. So don't look at me like that. Like I'm fucking making it up.
Oh, when you said love triangle, I wasn't thinking like two women vying for Mariah's affection. I was thinking like three women together. I was thinking more threesome than triangle, and that's why I was looking at you that way. Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but you're also leaving out something kind of important that happened here.
What?
So Anna Jay shows up with the Outcasts. I don't know if she's a member now, but this is the first time we've seen her with them. And so it makes sense because there's three of them, and now there's three Outcasts. The end.
Let's see. And Stephen here is saying Mariah May is going to be the wild card in this match at Forbidden Door. Tony's going to retain. I thought Mariah May is already in it. I didn't think the women's tournament had a wild card.
No. He means like in the women's world title match at Forbidden Door between Mina and Tony. Not she's going to be literally
in the at Forbidden Door. Oh wait.
Yes, it is. She's not going to literally. They're not talking about the Owen Hart belt.
No, it's Tony versus Shirakawa.
I know. In the match versus Tony and Mina.
Yeah.
He's saying that she'll be like a wild card, not knowing what she's going to do.
Oh, he's talking about that match. Okay,
yes,
I didn't get it.
He's not talking about the wild card slot in the men's Owen Hart tournament.
I got you.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I'm on the same page now. Yeah, exactly.
Because you don't know who she's going to side with,
right. And I think Mariah May, I think a lot of people agree Mariah May is the favorite for the women's tournament. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, the men's and the women's. I think she's the favorite. So yeah, right, Stephen. Whatever she does here, you know, hurting or helping one of these ladies will play a hand. And I think we're going to see Toni Storm versus Mariah May at All In for the belt.
Me too.
So yeah, and so we're setting up. I think Forbidden Door. We'll set that up. Yeah. And yeah, like Steven says, yeah, he agrees with me. Toni versus Mariah at All In. That's definitely the right call.
Yeah.
That match has been building for a little bit now, and that'd be awesome to see. Yeah.
It's been building since Mariah showed up in the company.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, awesome.
And hopefully, that would just be the start of the feud, because these two women together can work very well, I think. And to be honest, I think Mariah May is a better worker than Toni. She's not as good on the mic, but I think Mariah May is better in the ring than Toni.
Oh. I'll give you that. Maybe. Well, I think that Toni is better at incorporating her character into her wrestling.
Okay, yeah.
But as far as like technical wrestling skill, I will give you Mariah May.
Up next, speaking of the Owen Hart tournament, we had an Owen Hart Foundation first round match. We had Chris Statlander, former TBS champion, taking on, and then Steven, says poor Luther always takes a beating. Yes, he does. We hadn't mentioned him yet, and he may be a wild card. You know, if Mariah May does something against Toni, will we see Luther get physical with Mariah May? AEW doesn't usually do man-on-woman violence.
He is the one who rips the towel out of Mariah May's hand when she was going to throw the towel in.
Right.
In her match against, Serena Deeb, I think.
I think so,
yeah. So it's a good call.
So maybe we'll see him pull Mariah out of the ring. I don't think physicality, I don't think it would go much farther than I don't think he's going to punch her and do a move on her or anything. Again, if it were Mexico, the men and the women punch each other and shit, you know.
Maybe if he has like a butler tray, he can like hold it up as she's like running and she can run into it. That way he's not swinging.
Something like that. I hear you. He does always take a beating. So Owen Hart, first round. Chris Statlander taking on Nyla Rose. And Steven there, as he says, good pop for Nyla Rose. Yeah, definitely. Close to her hometown.
Former AEW Women's Champion.
Right.
Nyla Rose.
Was she the first Women's Champion? She was like the second.
She was after Riho, I believe.
Oh, right. I think that's right.
Riho was first.
She was like the second. So Statlander and Nyla Rose. Stat hits a tombstone pile driver and pins Rose. So Rose is out. Statlander moves on to the semifinals, where she will face the winner of
Willow versus Deeb.
Correct. And Willow versus Deeb is happening on Rampage on Friday, I think.
This past Friday.
Oh, right. It already happened. It already happened, right.
We'll get there in a minute.
So up next, we're seeing Chris Jericho, Big Bill, and Brian Keith. And Jericho is talking about not taking a pile driver because they're dangerous. And I thought it was pretty funny. You know, it's too dangerous for him. You know, thanks, guys. And then they're gone. I'm enjoying the learning tree, but I think it's either, you know, really like it or hate it kind of thing. But I think it's been pretty funny. I'm interested where it's going. But so far it's been funny. Next up, Daniel Garcia versus Rhett Titus. Rhett Titus, usually in Ring of Honor. This was a squash match. Garcia pinned Titus. Not much happened. Just a handful of moves in the match. And then Daddy Magic was doing commentary. And Gates of Power.
Cage of Agony?
Cage of Agony.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Cage of Agony. Yeah. I put the wrong thing. Cage of Agony. That doesn't sound right.
Gates of Power.
Gates of Power.
I like it.
Cage of Agony. And Hechicero, they attack. And they attack Daniel Garcia. Daddy Magic comes to his aid. And then eventually MJF and Will Ospreay come in and help run off Hechicero and the Cage of Agony.
Yeah, Cage of Agony is the Gates of Agony plus Brian Cage, since they're not part of the Mogul Embassy anymore.
Yeah, right. And there's Steven says, no comment. Jericho, despite shirt sales, doing great for Jericho. Yeah, definitely. Jericho's so good at reinventing himself. You know, we've seen it so many times. Very good at that. I've never seen anyone better than that. And Steven also says, yeah, great face-off of MJF and Ospreay. I agree. I think they'll do that later this year, I think. And that's a money match, you know, definitely a money match. But right now they'd be maybe your top two faces. You know, maybe Swerve might be in there instead of Ospreay, but I think MJF and Ospreay are maybe the top two faces. So we'll see what they go with for that match. And then they show us Will Ospreay and Brian Cage yelling at each other backstage after this confrontation. And Ospreay challenges Cage, says he'll put his international title on the line at Rampage. And so we have that set. And Steven there talking about my comment. He says, depends on how AEW booking MJF versus Adam Cole. Yeah, I hear you. I'm not sure when Cole will be back, you know. I expected him back by now, but I mean, I don't know. You don't know with injuries sometimes. But yeah, I hear you. I think MJF and Cole will come first, but who knows? Who knows? And we have our main event, Owen Hart Foundation men's first round match. Claudio Castagnoli versus Pac. And this was a very good match, I thought. These two, they're two Europeans. Their styles really worked well together, I thought.
Yeah, I agree.
And a lot of interesting moves. You know, Claudio does a lot of stuff that other people don't do. And Pac, you know, does a number of things people don't do either. So it was cool. It was a cool matchup. Pac pinned Claudio. They were doing a series of roll-ups, pretty much right in the center of the ring and kind of going in a circle, that type of thing. And eventually Pac holds down Claudio, and they're getting 2 counts over and over. And eventually Pac holds down Claudio for the 3 count. So Claudio is out. Pac moves on to the semifinals, where he will face the winner of
Danielson versus Takagi.
Correct. Yes. Steven says, really didn't like the main event ending the show with a roll-up. I hear you.
I'm 100% with that. I'm not a fan.
I didn't mind it, but I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, I understand.
Like, back and forth roll-ups are okay, like, maybe 1 or 2 times.
Yeah.
But, like, it was like 6 or 7 back and forth roll-up pins.
For as good as that match was, I think it would have been nice to have an outright winner. Yeah. But yeah, that match I gave 4.5 bones out of 5. I thought it was excellent. But as I said, I think the match of the night was that 8-man tag. Yeah. So Dynamite, awesome show. Lowest rating in the history of Dynamite in its true time slot. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's an excellent show. I don't know if I can know.
Let's just let it be an outlier.
Yeah.
And move on with our lives.
Well, it's one of those things. You know, I always said WWE, they had a 40-year start on AEW, and they convinced people this is what wrestling is. And so a lot of people are still sticking with them because they think that's what wrestling is. All the elaborate entrances and the the angles, no matter how stupid they are, everything's got to have a dramatic angle, and the the video packages, the constant video packages. They've been convinced that's what wrestling is, and so that's something AEW has to work hard to break. And I don't really mean to knock it. Like, if you like it, great. That's your thing, great. I don't particularly like it, so we don't watch it. But if you like it, I'm not trying to diss you. If you like it, great, good. Rampage, real quick. Private Party beat Grand Metalik and Commander. I love that teaming of Metalik and Commander. That match, though, not as good as you would think. Not as good as you would think from those four men. Up next, Ray Phoenix beat Turbo Floyd. Phoenix pinned Floyd after a frog splash. That was just a squash match.
Turbo Floyd is one of the Outrunners, if you don't know who we're talking about.
And then I think the main event was...
We're not there yet.
No, we're not.
We got 3 more matches.
We had a TNT title ladder match qualifier, and Lio Rush beat Action Andretti. Rush pinned Andretti after a frog splash is what I have. So 2 matches ending in a row with a frog splash.
It was an awesome match. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, okay.
You did too. You don't remember how much you liked that match? We were super impressed with Lio Rush.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
Impressed.
Lio Rush, very good. Yeah. And up next, we had Shingo Takagi versus AR Fox. The first time we've seen Fox in a while. This was a squash match, just trying to build up Takagi. He pinned Fox after a Death Valley driver into a Falcon Arrow. So Takagi, impressive. And then Bryan Danielson comes in. He's facing Takagi in the first round of the Owen Hart tournament. He tries to shake Okagi's hand. Takagi. He's trying to shake Takagi's hand, and Takagi slaps it away. So disrespect there to Danielson. Just giving the match a little heat.
And this is not in my fashion notes, but Takagi's hair is awesome. He's got like flames shaved into like the short part. That's very cool.
That's cool. Going back to what I was saying about the ratings for Dynamite, Steven says blame the Olympics for the ratings. Yeah, the U.S. Olympic trials were also on. People love the fucking Olympics. So you had the Olympic U.S. trials, the College Baseball World Series, the Kendrick Lamar concert, and it was Juneteenth. And so just a lot of things combined for a low rating. Steven is saying Danielson loses first round. Maybe.
Yeah, you never know with him.
Yeah,
because he's like on his farewell tour. Like, it's like, who the fuck knows what he's gonna do?
Yeah. Could this be the tournament where Danielson earns a shot at the world title and maybe ends up with a world title reign before his, kind of retirement?
Well, Andy said he doesn't want a belt in AEW, so does he view the Owen Hart belt as a belt? Yeah.
Well, I was just talking about going up to the world title.
Yeah, but I'm saying even before he gets there, if you win this tournament, you get a belt. It's not like a...
And Steven there, he's saying what I've heard a lot of people say, Danielson versus McGuinness at All In. McGuinness always talks about shit, talks shit about Danielson on Collision.
Yeah, he calls him a clam digger like nonstop, which is a really weird insult.
Yeah.
That has to be some sort of British thing. It's just so weird.
Yeah, I don't know what that means still.
But since the day he showed up in AEW, it's been relentless against Danielson. If it is not leading there, then something is seriously wrong with Nigel McGuinness.
Steven also saying he thinks it might be Danielson's last match, and I assume he means before he scales his schedule down some, because he's already said he's gonna scale his schedule down, maybe do 1 match a month or something like that. Danielson.
I thought after this year he was doing 4 matches a year.
Well, I think I heard him say more than that, but whatever. He's only going to have a couple matches a year. Is my point. So maybe his last match before he cuts his schedule way down. Main event for Rampage, Owen Hart Foundation, first round for the women. Willow Nightingale beat Serena Deeb. She hit the Babe with the power bomb and got the pinfall. This was a pretty good match. It was 3.5 bones out of 5. Would have gotten more because, like I said, I enjoyed it, but Deeb didn't get in enough offense for the rating to get much higher. So, it was a decent match. Steven is saying, predict Jay White winning the Owen Hart tournament. Time to push Jay. I think that'd be great. We'll look at the bracket in a minute here, but
I think it's gonna be Adam Page.
I mean, that would be fantastic. Yeah, we'll talk about it in a minute here. I think that'd be great. Yeah, I agree. Jay White deserves, and he's a champion, so I don't feel as negative as a lot of people do about his time in AEW, but definitely they need to establish him as the big singles superstar he can be and has been for New Japan. So yeah, I agree with you there.
But we are going to talk about the tournament briefly right now for the women's tournament because Willow winning means that she is now facing Chris Statlander in the second round.
Oh, right. Former friends.
Worth mentioning.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Collision. June 22nd. Man, we're going too much over time. Something's going to have to get cut. Something's going to have to get cut. Collision, June 22nd in Allentown, PA. We open up with a trios match. Samoa Joe, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata taking on the Premier Athletes. And I'll give you 3 guesses who wins this match. Shibata submitted Tony Nese in an armbar. And so Joe, Hook, and Shibata, a really cool team. They get the win in this trios match over Tony Nese, Josh Woods, and Ari Daivari, which are also a cool trios team, but they're pretty much just jobbers, really. Unfortunately.
This is only the second time we've seen them this year on AEW.
True, but can you think of the last time any of those 3 won a match?
On AEW?
On AEW,
no. Yeah. They're Ring of Honor guys.
Up next, we have a Bang Bang Gang promo. The World Trios champions, of course. And Juice Robinson reveals...
You skipped something.
What did I skip?
After the match, doesn't Samoa Joe challenge for the trios belts? Or is that later in the show for some reason?
I think that's later in the show.
Okay, I'm sorry. Never mind.
Bang Bang Gang cut a promo. Juice Robinson says it's been revealed to him that he cannot be one of the World Trios champions. Like, they can't switch him in and out. It has to be the 2 Guns and Jay White for it to be a title match. So I think they're probably mentioning this in a promo because I think eventually Robinson will be allowed to be switched out in a trios tournament match. And I think maybe the Young Bucks will be the one to make that decision, and that's the old Freebirds rule back in the day, back in the 80s in the NWA. The Freebirds were the tag team champions, and they would let them, I think there were three guys, and they would let them swap out guys to defend the tag team title. So that's called the Freebird rule. Up next, we had...
Yeah, I think it was Steven commented.
Yeah, Steven saying Joe, Hook, Shibata versus Jericho's posse at Forbidden Door. I think that's right.
That's who they challenged. I misspoke. Right. I thought it was the Bang Bang Gang, but you're absolutely right.
And Antonio saying at Forbidden Door, MJF versus Hechicero. Yeah, that's looking forward to seeing it. Up next, we had FTW champion Chris Jericho teaming up with the Redwood Big Bill, and they took on Private Party. And Jericho and Big Bill were accompanied by Brian Keith.
The Bad Apple.
And this was this match was too long for the amount of offense they were doing.
It was awful.
Like, this match just dragged on, and it became, for about 5 minutes of it, just punches and kicks. Like, it seemed like they were told to stretch the match out.
Yeah, which I don't understand why. We had 8 matches on this show. Could they not have given this time to another match?
A lot of the matches were very fast wins.
Yeah.
So maybe they realized that they were going too fast.
But already? That was the second match on the card.
Yeah, well, good call.
I mean, it was too long.
It was too long, yeah. It was way too long.
Like, it seemed like the audience was, like, cheering for the match to be over by the time it ended,
Correct.
which is not what you want.
No. I just want to make a note. Big Bill, on his trunks, he, on the back, it said, "Too much man." And then it attributed the quote to Tony Schiavone, and that I got a kick out of that.
That's in my fashion.
Okay. Eventually, Jericho pinned Cassidy after Brian Keith hit Cassidy with a brass knuckles punch. Brass knuckles. After the bell, the Learning Tree gang, they attack Private Party. And then Joe, Hook, and Shibata come out and fight the heels off. And then they challenge them to a trios match at Forbidden Door. So, right, Jericho, Big Bill, and Brian Keith versus Shibata, Samoa Joe, and Hook at Forbidden Door, because Chris Jericho has to be on every pay-per-view.
Does he have like a Hulk Hogan-esque contract or something?
It seems like he might. It seems like he might. Of course, you got to remember, Chris Jericho is probably the biggest name in this promotion. I think still. Next match was an AEW Continental Title Eliminator match. Okada, the champion, took on Ultimo Guerrero. Oh, wait, my rating. I'm sorry. My rating for the Jericho and Big Bill versus Private Party, 2 bones out of 5. There were some good spots, but like I said, just too long and not much going on.
I hate the silly string. I hate it.
So 2 bones out of 5. Yeah, that move's
awful.
Dumb. So Okada versus Ultimo Guerrero. That's where I wrote down, this crowd sucks. And they really did. Like, the Allentown, Pennsylvania crowd was not enjoying the show. They were sitting on their hands. A lot of times they had no reactions. I mean, you could hear individual fans yelling out for most of the night. It was a bad crowd.
They weren't even smiling. Like, it looked like they were being forced to be there.
Yes. Yeah.
Sad.
It was sad. Like, why did they even go?
They wake up for the women's match a little.
Yeah.
That was about it.
And in the match near the end, Okada unmasked Guerrero. And then he hit the Rainmaker and got the pinfall win on Guerrero. This was a decent match. 3.5 bones out of 5. Pretty good. Up next, we had Top Flight and Action Andretti, and they were with Renee. Dante Martin says the last ladder match he was in, he broke his leg. He had that horrific injury in Ring of Honor. And Dante says he's going to win the TNT title. Leo Rush comes up and says even though they're friends, he's going for the TNT title. Dante Martin says so is he, and then they kind of have a face off there.
This was not good.
And Antonio, I will not be watching Raw tonight. No, we don't watch WWE, but enjoy it. Enjoy it tonight. Next, we have a video package about the patriarchy and their feud with the House of Black, and they show us from last week they show us Buddy Matthews' injury happening, where the patriarchy beat him up backstage and took him out of commission.
Kayfabe injury.
Right, I think it was, yeah. Up next, we had a trios match with a team I hate, the Iron Savages. And their partner was Jacked Jameson. And the Iron Savages, they do Titty City, where one of the guys pulls down his straps and then they rub a guy's face in his man tits. And that's just so, that's not what I want to watch in wrestling, not at all. They took on the patriarchy. Christian sat and announced for most of the match, leaving Nick Wayne and Killswitch to do a lot of the work. But at the end, Christian comes in, he hits the kill switch on one of the Iron Savages, I'm not sure which, it doesn't matter. And then Christian pinned him for the win, so the patriarchy get the win there. It was pretty much a squash match, so nothing happened.
They're the most like Vince McMahon-y group on AEW, I think, the Iron Savages.
God, I hate
with
that.
Like the gimmick and the move and just like, that's what it reminds me of, is like something on WWE, like sports entertainment-y more than wrestling, you know? Even just their in-ring work, how they like talk to the crowd during the match.
Yep. Up next, we had TBS champion Mercedes Moné. We had just a video package showing her feud with New Japan Strong Women's Champion Stephanie Vaquer. And it was a pretty good little video package, I thought. Looking forward to that match. Up next, we had a women's tag team match. We had the World Women's Champion Toni Storm teaming up with Mariah May, and they took on Layla Hirsch and Lady Frost. And this is the match where, as Kay said, the crowd actually woke up, finally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they were cheering for this match, and it was a good match. It was a very good match.
Yeah.
Eventually, Mariah May pinned Layla Hirsch after Toni Storm hit the Storm Zero pile driver. So Toni Storm and Mariah May pick up the win, and I gave this match 4 bones out of 5. So the highest rated match on the show so far, and it deserved it, definitely.
And I feel like we just need to say this because we've said a lot of shit about her before. This was the best match I've ever seen Lady Frost have. She looks excellent in it.
Yeah, as we said in the past, her gymnastics, they seemed very forced into the match.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, the gymnastic moves, she would miss them. Just not hit the right spot on her opponents. And it just looked really bad. And just, like I said, didn't fit in. This match, everything she did, she hit her spot. And the gymnastics things looked very impressive.
And it made sense in the context of a wrestling match.
Yeah, I agree. So, seems like she's been practicing and working on that kind of thing, and she looked very good. Up next, we had a Serena Deeb promo, and she made an open challenge for next week on Collision. She said she's on a 3-match losing streak, and she wants to turn it around, and she put out an open challenge for Collision. Up next, we had a tag team match. The House of Black, just Malachi Black and Brody King. They took on LSG and MSG. Never fucking heard of either one of them. The House of Black won with a double team spike pile driver. Brody King got the win. This was another squash match. Several squash matches on this show, which in this day and time, just no. Just not needed. And especially when you're trying to boost your ratings up, not a good idea. I don't get it. I don't get why they booked them on Collision. I do not understand, not at all.
Collision makes me want to shake Tony Khan and be like, "What are you doing?"
Yes, because AEW has a fantastic roster,
Fantastic.
Maybe the best roster any pro wrestling company has ever had. but they don't bring the stars out for Collision. We got these jobber matches that no one cares about. I don't understand. Up next, Hechicero took on Daddy Magic, and this was another squash match. Hechicero beat Daddy Magic by submission. Next, we had a Jeff Jarrett promo about his entering the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. This was very good.
It made me cry.
It was very good.
It was very good.
Yeah, it almost made me cry as well.
It was very moving.
Owen Hart was a former tag team champion with Jeff Jarrett in WWF back in the day. And, Jarrett talks about how hard it was to lose his friend. And like I said, just a good promo. Saying he's very proud to win the Owen Hart. He'd be very proud to win it. And he pointed out, he said, I've won this title, I've won this title, I've won this title, but the Owen Hart Cup means more to me than any of that. So very good on the part of Jeff Jarrett.
He made me... I'm rooting for Jeff Jarrett in that tournament, which I don't think I would have ever said prior to that preview.
I think I may be.
How can you... he was getting emotional during his promo, which made me emotional. It was just so honest and frank. It makes me want to see more Jeff Jarrett on TV. And, how can you root against that guy after that speech, Excellent.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Excellent.
Next, we had an international title match. It was the main event. Will Ospreay defending against Brian Cage. Daniel Garcia, they showed him watching on a monitor in the back. He has said that he's going after Ospreay's international title in the past. This was an awesome match. I like Brian Cage a lot. We both do on the show, and we both talk about how underutilized he is, and how he needs a push, and he needs a push. Just look at the guy. He looks amazing, and because of his strength, can do some really amazing moves in the ring on just about anyone. So you got to push this guy. He could be and should be a main event talent, I believe.
And he's good on the mic. He's always had a manager.
Yep.
But when they let him talk, I was like, why does this guy even have a manager? He can hold his own in promos. And
a very good match. Awesome match, in fact. Ospreay won. He hit the hidden blade and pinned Cage to keep his title. I gave this one 4.5 bones out of 5. This was the best match on the show, and this was the best match of the week. This was AEW match of the week. Will Ospreay beating Brian Cage.
That's great.
Well,
you get to pick them.
So up next, we have on this show we have a segment called "Where's This Going?" where we talk about some things that happened on TV this past week, and then we ask the question, where's this going? First off, I want to talk a little about a match coming up at Forbidden Door, MJF versus Hechicero from CMLL. And my question I want to hear from you, Kay, is this match, Hechicero being featured in the match, is this a high-profile match enough for MJF on his first pay-per-view back? Is that the opponent you think MJF deserves to wrestle on his first pay-per-view back? Nothing against Hechicero. Yeah. He's awesome. But just, where he is, his reputation.
Well, I find that a difficult question to answer because I don't know anything about CMLL besides what they've shown us on AEW TV.
Right.
Based on what they've shown us on AEW TV, yes, I think this is a good match for him because Hechicero, in my opinion, is the most awesome CMLL wrestler that I have seen come on AEW TV. And so if I had to pick someone from CMLL for him to face, it would be this guy. But as far as like in their company, is he a big deal? I have no idea.
Okay.
He doesn't come out with a belt, but I don't think I've seen anyone from their company come out with a belt. I'm assuming they have belts. But
has he established himself as a big guy, as you put it? I mean, a bit like a main eventer while he's been on AEW the last few weeks?
I mean, compared to the other CMLL guys, yes, but for any of the CMLL guys, no. Like, they haven't built up any of them to be stars, you know? Like, they've just been kind of side stories.
Right.
But I think I'm okay. I feel like they want to allow MJF to showcase his wrestling.
Right.
And I feel like this is going to be a good opportunity to do that. I think the match is going to be excellent because I think Hechicero is excellent. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they wanted to do anything that seemed like a big story because I think as soon as this pay-per-view is over, they're going to start working on Cole versus MJF, and they want that to be the first big storyline you think of when you think of MJF coming back in the company. And I think that's what's going to be it all in. And so I feel like they're saving a big story. That's like MJF's matches so far when he's been back. Has he only wrestled Roosh? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, there's no story there. You could ask, is Roosh a big enough opponent for MJF? You know.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're keeping things low key with him because he's about to get an infusion in story when Cole's back.
Okay.
Are you going to share your thoughts at all, or?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I just want to hear your thoughts.
Okay.
I will share my thoughts about this one. First, I want to hear what you think.
Okay.
International champion Will Ospreay is still in the Callis family. Should he be?
Well, is he though? Like, I know he is.
Yeah.
But he is.
So he's a face. He's the only face in the Callis family. Everyone else is a heel.
Yeah. But also, like, no one came out with him from the Callis family to face Swerve in the ring. Prince Nana was there. Where the fuck was Don Callis? He was in the back with the rest of the Callis family watching. Like, I feel like time and again, the Callis family has proven that they are useless for Will Ospreay. And Will Ospreay has proven that he doesn't need or want their advice.
Yep.
So I think, like, his friendship with Kyle Fletcher is what put him there in the first place.
Right.
And now that they're in the same company, I don't think there's necessarily going to be, like, a big blow up. I think he's just going to, like, slowly separate himself from it.
I agree that he's going to leave the Callis family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure when. It could be at this show. It could be at Forbidden Door.
Mm-hmm.
Antonio is leaving us. Good night, Antonio.
Night.
See ya. Hope to see you soon.
Yeah.
We're doing a Forbidden Door prediction show, 7 p.m. on Thursday. So hopefully step by for that.
Are we doing watch along Wednesday too?
All right, we're going to do an AEW Dynamite watch along Wednesday night. So join us for that too. So as we were talking about, I think Ospreay is definitely going to leave the Callis family. And as I said, it could be at Forbidden Door. I don't know. So we'll see.
Do you think?
And I have another question I want to get to about Callis.
Wait, can I ask a question first?
Okay.
Do you think that Callis is going to cost him the match against Swerve?
Possibly.
Yeah, because I don't.
May be how it ends.
Yeah.
Possibly.
That's what I think.
Where Ospreay loses his first match
Mm-hmm.
in AEW to Swerve, and then that way, both guys keep their belts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel like the main event could go either way, but I feel like if Swerve wins, Don Callis may be involved in some way. I think
it kind of has to be.
It would be a lot better for him if Swerve beats Ospreay clean in the middle of the ring.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. AEW doesn't do a lot of interference in pay-per-view main events. They really just make it like one-on-one.
Mhm.
Because they think the fans don't want to see that in the main event. I know I don't.
Mhm.
I don't want to see a disqualification or a count out in the main event. I
Mhm.
want a winner and
Yeah.
a loser. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So also, let me ask, what is your reaction? Don Callis on Dynamite last week, he was scouting Roosh. He met him in the locker room after Roosh lost to MJF.
Mhm.
And Don Callis comes in the locker room and is speaking Spanish to Roosh, presumably to try to get him to join the Callis family. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea. When you had me look up if Preston Vance still worked for the company and it said that he was still a member of La Faction and Gobernables, I also looked to see if Drolistico was still there, and he is also listed in that faction. Roosh is also still listed as in that faction,
Okay.
which is surprising because they have not mentioned it. So I don't know if they just haven't updated their website, but that seems like an error. But yes, I think you should join the Callis family. Callis family needs an infusion. Plus, like, it'll just be such an international family. I love it. Like a nice blended family. A melting pot, if you will.
I hear you. All right, we're gonna get into this real quick. It seems very divisive. I've been reading on the internet. It seems very divisive. Let me ask, what do you think of the learning tree gimmick?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. When I first heard it,
I love it too.
I fucking hated it.
Yeah.
Like, but before he even showed up on, which is when you had told me that he had copyrighted that or trademarked that term, because it sounds like a preschool. Like I think there is a preschool in our town. We call that.
Really?
Yeah, but like a preschool where you're like, do I want to send my kids there? That doesn't seem safe. But I love it. I was getting done with Jericho. Like, I like Jericho, but it was getting to be just too much without any kind of enjoyment factor for me.
Mm-hmm.
And this has reinvigorated my love for him. I look forward to his hi guys, and his hey everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Does he do a hi guys?
Yeah, when he comes out, he's
okay.
like, "Hi, everybody," or something like that. Yeah, okay. I appreciate it. And even when you hear, "I am the learning tree," it just brings me some joy.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's fun, and
I
love how much he's just flipping off all his haters with everything he's doing with his character.
Yeah, I love it.
Just delightful.
I love it.
Just
a gimmick based on pure spite.
Spite, it's beautiful.
On Jericho's part.
Yeah.
And he's got Big Bill as the Redwood, and he's got Brian Keith as the Bad Apple.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder, who's next? Are we going to see the Learning Tree family grow? And if so, who's next?
Mm-hmm. If he adds someone else, they'd better start referring to his disciples as the saplings, or I'm going to be disappointed.
You're just hooked on that.
I love it.
The saplings.
Yes.
Okay. I love the gimmick too. It's funny. Jericho's so funny when he wants to be.
Yeah.
So funny, so creative. And I enjoy it. It's funny. And not only that, Big Bill has been funny also.
Yes, he has. Yeah.
Brian Keith is just very serious.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good to have one in the faction who's serious.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jericho and Big Bill have both been very funny. So yeah, I'm interested to see where it's going. Yeah, definitely.
And my number one complaint about Big Bill over the years has been his stupid lollipop addiction. And he hasn't been out with lollipops since he joined Jericho. So nice lead on Jericho.
All right. Now we are quickly going to talk about the Owen Hart Foundation tournaments, the men's and the women's.
Okay. What about it?
Just give me a minute.
Oh, okay.
Have we only had one men's match?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So in the men's tournament, Pac beat Claudio to head to the second round. Claudio's the only man who's been eliminated. And we're going to have Bryan Danielson versus Takagi in the first round to see who faces Pac.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side of the bracket, we have Ray Phoenix versus Jay White. That should be a hell of a match.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Jeff Jarrett versus the wild card entrant, whoever that's
Mm-hmm.
going to be. So who's going to be the wild card? What do you think?
I think it's going to be Adam Page.
A lot of people think that. Yeah. If I had to bet money, I'd say Page. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say Page. And I feel like Jarrett's going to lose in the first round, but like you said earlier, I'm kind of rooting for him to win the whole fucking thing now.
Like, and that's like what has me questioning who's going to be that wild card. Because if they were going to make Jarrett go out in the first round, why did they let him cut such a good emotional promo? Like, just to devastate us all?
Yeah, so you feel something when he loses, yeah. I don't know which way that one's going to go.
Well, I guess, too, if Adam Page is coming back and he's staying a heel, that promo kind of turned Jarrett, at least in this tournament, face, even though he's like only ever been a heel in AEW.
And I'll say this, and a lot of people won't agree, and I don't care. Jeff Jarrett, he's old. He can still go. Mm-hmm. He is still good in the ring. Yeah. Better than some guys, better than a lot of guys on the AEW roster. He's been a world champion several times over. He knows what he's doing, and he's very good at it. And I still enjoyed seeing Jeff Jarrett wrestle.
Well, his character is great. Because I think it's basically just like he's lived it for so many years. Like, it feels like him, you know? Mm-hmm.
So we'll cut into it real quick. Not just who do we want to win, who's going to win the men's tournament? Who's going to get the world title shot at All In?
I think Adam Page is going to.
And Page is going to win.
Yes, I think he's going to win the whole thing. Because then we get Page versus Swerve at All In.
Okay. Who do you think Page would face in the final?
Oh, on this side. Probably Pac.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know who I think is going to win that Phoenix White match, though.
Yeah. I think Jay White.
I think it's going to be Jay White, but I really want it to be Ray Phoenix.
Me too, yeah. But I think Jay White's winning it.
Mm-hmm.
Man. It's tough. I'm going to say... Jeez. I'm gonna say Jay White wins it.
The whole thing?
Jay White wins the whole thing, and at All In, I think we're gonna see either Ospreay versus Jay White or Swerve versus Jay White. That's what I think. We'll see. All right, let's do the women's tournament. We've had a couple matches in the women's tournament already. Mm-hmm. We've had 2 matches.
Correct.
So Willow Nightingale beat Serena Deeb, and Chris Statlander beat Nyla Rose.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that semifinal match is going to be Willow versus Statlander.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side of the bracket, we have, what's her name? Diana?
Yeah.
Diana Purrazzo versus Hikaru Shida. And we have Mariah May versus Saraya.
Mm-hmm.
So, who do you see coming out of each side of the bracket? Who do you see coming out of the left side, Willow or Statlander?
Statlander.
Okay. So, who's coming out of the right side of the bracket?
May.
Mariah May?
Yes, and she's winning.
And she's going to win it over Statlander?
Yes.
I think Mariah May is going to win it. Man, I can't decide.
Well, Mariah May is going to be the face in the Mariah-Saraya match.
Yeah.
So I figure she's got to face a heel, so she's going to face Chris.
Oh,
that's the only reason I picked that. Like, there's no other. And she'll have Stokely Hathaway with her, presumably.
But Mariah May, she can go back and forth between a face and
no,
heel.
I know she can. I'm just saying I based it on that.
Like, I kind of think maybe the main event, or excuse me, the tournament final might be Mariah May versus Willow Nightingale.
Yeah, I mean, that's very possible. I literally only picked Chris Statlander because she's a heel. And because she would have Stokely to possibly, like, give her a one-up over Willow, you know?
But who do I want to win? I think either Sheeta or Mariah May. I'm not sure yet.
Mm-hmm.
Who do I think is going to win? Mariah May.
Yeah. I don't even know if Sheeta's going to beat Deanna.
Man, like I don't know.
The two that I'm like the least sure of my picks for are Phoenix and White,
yep.
and Deanna and Sheeta.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because like,
so we both think Mariah May is going to win, and we both think we're going to see Toni Storm versus May at All In.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I can get with that. All right. So where's this going? Juice Robinson is not allowed to rotate in as a World Trios champion with the rest of the Bang Bang Gang. Will he be allowed to do so eventually?
Yes.
You think yes?
I think fuck yes.
Yeah, I think so too, because why mention it in a promo unless it's going to get overturned?
Yeah.
Do you think it'll be the Young Bucks overturning it?
Yes.
You do too? Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
That's an easy one.
Yeah.
Where's this going? Last one. Serena Deeb on Collision made an open challenge for Collision this Saturday. Who will it be? Who will answer the call?
Well, it's going to be someone that's got to lose, right?
I feel like it.
I don't care.
You don't care?
I don't care. Like, that promo, like, was part of the parts of Collision that slowly murdered my soul this week. Serena Deeb played a big role in that with that promo. Like, I 100% stopped listening to what she was saying because it was boring.
Wow.
So, I'm going to say someone I want to see in the ring. I would love for Trish Adora to show up again in AEW and to actually beat Serena Deeb. But I know whoever she's going to wrestle is going to lose. So
that's a fun one.
Yeah.
I could. That would be a good match.
Yeah. So I mean, if it's someone that has to lose, I'd prefer they just bring someone up from ring, so like some rando up from Ring of Honor. You know.
I think it might end up being someone from Stardom. Someone else from Stardom.
Well, I don't know anyone from Stardom to pick, but that's a good idea.
Neither do I. But I think it could be someone from Stardom.
Yeah, that's a good call because we only have one person from Stardom.
I think so. Yeah. To follow up, should Serena Deeb turn heel?
Oh my God, yes.
Yep.
Like, look at that woman's face. How is she not a heel?
Yep.
She looks like the Wicked Witch, but with no green face paint on. Like she's the teacher that she complains about your handwriting to you.
Yeah.
And like calls your parents every week, you know, telling them that you won't shut up in class or something. Like, she needs to be a heel. Because one, it'll give her a personality. Because my God, that woman needs a personality.
I don't think she's as bad on the mic as you do. Hey, Dylan.
She conveys passion by solely raising the volume at which she is speaking.
Yeah.
There is no change in inflection. There is no change in facial expression. I would rather take wallpaper down from our bathroom than listen to her talk.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think Serena Deeb should turn heel. And you know how she has the big flag that says, let's just say Deeb's Dojo?
Mm-hmm.
So she has one that she places in a holder next to the crowd. And then she always gives away a Deeb's Dojo flag to a kid. Usually a girl, isn't it?
Yeah. Usually
a little girl. So I think that we need to see the she was Dylan says you're damn harsh on Serena Deeb. Yeah. So I think she should turn heel, and what I want to see, I want to really see Deeb's Dojo. I hope it's a real place, and we can make it a real place because wrestling. I want to see Deeb's Dojo, and I want to see just random opponents every week that just come in and then she beats the shit out of them. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
And I think that would build up her character way more than they've done with her getting promo segments.
Yeah.
Just showing how tough she is and can beat people with her wrestling style or what, blend different styles into it. I think that would be awesome to do.
Yeah.
And we have a real Deeb's dojo. And then she stops giving out the flag to the little girls. Obviously she can't be a face or do that. So that's my take on Deeb. All right, we are going to head to wrestling fashion do's and don'ts with Kay Fabulous.
All right.
So what we have here, I either say do or don't, and Kay tells us the fashion, whether it's good or not. Don't.
If you are relaunching your character, don't abandon your signature Burberry plaid that fans proudly don in your honor, like MJF, who is sticking with the plaid, but now of the gray and black variety.
Do.
If you are the Dapper Yapper, do add to your stellar ring intros by extolling the EVP's fashion do's, as Dustin Roberts did on Dynamite this week, when noting that the Young Bucks vests matched their AEW branded Reeboks.
Do.
If you are looking to sell your new merch, do make sure it looks like it was made by an airbrush kiosk at the beach in 1992, like Private Party's new t-shirts.
Yeah. Don't.
If you are a bounty hunter turned bad apple, don't wear an undersized dead snake on your hat like Brian Keith. That shit is tiny and unimpressive.
Yeah, definitely. Do.
If you seem to have rope skills gifted from the gods, do wear a mask and wrist cuffs with intricate gold detailing worthy of one, like Commander.
Love Commander. Don't.
If you are making one of your rare AEW appearances, don't wear red briefs with a silver waistband that makes it look like you are sporting Fruit of the Loom's underwear, as Brett Titus did on Dynamite.
Yeah, no good. Do.
If you want to give a nod to Tony Schiavone, do wear a quote from him calling you too much man on the back of your new trunks, like the Redwood Big Bill.
Pretty good. Do.
Although this may seem like a don't, if you are someone who seemingly stepped right out of a comic book, definitely do wear a white cape lined with leopard print, giving you the appearance of a muscly Doctor Strange stepping out of a Vegas whorehouse, as Brian Cage did on Collision.
Yeah.
And that is this week's fashion do's and don'ts.
Okay, thank you for helping us know what to wear inside the ring, outside the ring, whatever. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm here for you with any fashion questions you may have.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And now I am going to get to some AEW news. All right, some news roundup from this week. Matt Sydal announced he'll be undergoing right foot surgery. He says after 12 years of suffering, his doctor is going to have to break and refuse 3 bones in addition to using hardware to set his toes into his joints. Sydal thanked AEW fans and their medical staff and is optimistic for the future. He did not reveal how long he expects to be out of the ring. Swerve Strickland's partnership with rapper Flash Garments is set to be the focus of a new documentary. The film will focus on the period following Strickland's WWE release in late 2023. So Garments and Kanye West, Garments and Swerve Strickland paired together to produce a new theme song for Strickland in AEW. The documentary is being produced by identical twin comedy duo Kenny and Keith Lucas, along with comedian and director Mookie Thompson. The Friday, June 14th episode of Rampage averaged 334,000 viewers on TNT. That's up 30.5% from the previous week and is the highest viewership total the show has done since May 18th. Rampage drew a .12 rating. Here, how do I move this down? Okay. Drew a .12 rating in the 18 through 49 demo, up 33.3% from last week. The increased rating comes despite the fact the show aired opposite Game 4 of the NBA Finals on ABC. Although the game was a blowout, there was also competition from the College World Series. AEW and Reebok are collaborating together to honor the late Brody Lee. On July 1st, new Reebok sneakers paying tribute to Lee will be released through Champs Sports, online and in stores. The sneakers have a purple and black color scheme modeled after the Dark Order. They're priced at $90. It's called the AEW Reebok Classic Leather Brody Lee. With the future of all-inclusive streaming service, it appears to still be some time away. Past pay-per-views are now available for purchase on Triller. Fans can now purchase past pay-per-views either a la carte or by packs by complete year, dating back to the company's beginning in 2018. Triller, formerly known as Fight TV, is a longtime partner with AEW, offering AEW Plus to international viewers in addition to becoming a pay-per-view buying option for U.S. buyers. That started in April. It's the first time AEW has discounted past pay-per-views in this format. Previously, the only way to watch older pay-per-views for those that had not purchased them was to buy them at their full price. Or, if you have a VCR still, of course, you can tape them on a VHS tape. While the a la carte price is $10 per show, wow, that's not bad at all. The packs vary in price from $30 to $60, giving purchasers a discount when they buy in bulk. So that's pretty good news for people who want the pay-per-views. Because on Shop AEW, they're usually $30 a piece, and that's for a Blu-ray, which of course is the best a show is going to look is on Blu-ray.
Unless they start coming out in 4K.
Right. Last week's Saturday night episode of AEW Collision averaged 431,000 viewers on TNT. That's up 11.1% from the previous week. The best audience for the show since May 18th. Collision drew the same 0.13 rating in the 18 through 49 demo that it did last week. Kevin Kelly said this week on Eric Bischoff's podcast that he plans to sue AEW. Kelly departed the company in March after being with them since June 2023. He says he was fired after going public on X about his grievances with Ian Riccaboni, making disparaging comments about him and his frustrations with AEW's handling of the situation. Injury updates are available for multiple AEW wrestlers. Aussie Open's Mark Davis has been out of action since suffering a broken wrist at Wrestle Dream last October. He has something private going on, and it's none of our business. We don't know what it is, and we don't know when he'll be back either. The Blade and the Bunny updated fans on their status during a virtual signing with K&S WrestleFest. The Blade has been out since February with a back injury, but he says he hopes to return by All In.
How do you have a virtual signing?
I don't know what that means, yeah.
That's what the article I read said.
Maybe they sign stuff and then they mail it to you.
And then they show up on your computer to answer questions?
I bet, yeah.
Oh.
Maybe you get to talk to them on your
Yeah.
computer, and then they sign stuff and mail it to you.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just a guess.
Yeah.
For the first time since... real quick. The Bunny hasn't wrestled since September. She is no longer on the AEW roster page. She says she's figure skating right now and is taking a break from wrestling. For the first time since December...
You skipped the blade.
No, I said
okay.
back injury.
Oh, sorry.
For the first time since December, AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland will make his return to the Indies to take on the legendary Amazing Red. The show for House of Glory will take place on Friday, July 26th from the NYC Arena in Jamaica, New York. Amid rumors that surfaced this week that former WWE employee and occasional wrestler Shane McMahon had thrown out feelers about coming to AEW. In a quote given to Dave Meltzer for this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter, AEW head Tony Khan said, "I've never met him or talked to him in my life." Wednesday night's episode of Dynamite averaged 502,000 viewers on TBS, a 26.3% drop from last week. That's big. It was the lowest audience total in the history of Dynamite airing in its normal time slot. Dynamite finished third on the cable charts with a .16 rating in the 18 through 49 demo. That's down 30.4% from last week. Mercedes Moné appeared on Friday's CMLL show in Arena, Mexico to confront her AEW and New Japan Forbidden Door opponent, Stephanie Vaquer. Vaquer defeated La Catalina on the show to retain the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. Then Moné entered for a confrontation that turned physical. Moné, said she's going to beat Vaquer in their title-for-title match at Forbidden Door. Vaquer responded with a promo telling Moné to speak Spanish because she's in Vaquer's house, before vowing to add the TBS title to her collection. Now, just one more piece of news. Ultimo Guerrero explained the mask issues that took place on Collision. The CMLL legend took to Facebook to explain why he was constantly adjusting his mask, which could be seen throughout the match, not knowing that he needed to wear a mask, as he had lost it back in 2014 in a, you must unmask match. A member of AEW staff ended up having to make him a mask in under an hour. Guerrero praised the staff member and said he respected that person for their hard work. But of course, he kept adjusting the mask, and late in the match, he was unmasked. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but he was unmasked near the end of the match.
I think that part was probably intentional.
Maybe. Coming up next, it's the AEW Top 5. The AEW Top 5, which we bring to you every week through our blood, sweat, and tears to deliver you an accurate Top 5 rating of the Top 5 men, the Top 5 women, and the Top 5 teams in AEW. These are not the AEW ratings. These are ratings we came up with based on this week's matches. Kay, what are we doing first? Teams. Number 5, the Young Bucks, the World Tag Team Champions. They're so low because they were not in action this week.
Yes, they were. They lost to the Acclaimed.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. They're so low because they didn't win this week. I'm sorry. Number 4, the Trios team of Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata, as they got a Trios win this week. Number 3, the tag team of Chris Jericho and Big Bill, as they beat whom?
They beat Private Party.
Yep. Number 2, the World Trios Champions, the Bang Bang Gang, Jay White and the Guns. And the number one the number one team this week is the Acclaimed, as they defeated the Young Bucks in an eliminator match, and they will get an AEW World Tag Team title shot soon. So the Acclaimed back up to number one after being out of the spot for a couple months, I think. Yeah. So women or men?
Women.
Top 5 women. Number 5, Mercedes Moné, the TBS champion. And she is so low because she did not wrestle this week. Number 4, Willow Nightingale, currently in the Owen Hart tournament. Number 3, Chris Statlander, also currently in the Owen Hart tournament. Number 2, Mina Shirakawa, who is facing Toni Storm at Forbidden Door for the World Women's title. And number 1, she's been number 1 for months now, the World Women's Champion, Toni Storm. So that's number 1, Toni Storm. Number 2, Mina Shirakawa. Number 3, Chris Statlander. Number 4, Willow Nightingale. And number 5, Mercedes Moné. And the tag teams were number 1, the Acclaimed. Number 2, the Bang Bang Gang. Number 3, Chris Jericho and Big Bill. Number 4, Samoa Joe, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata. Number 5, the Young Bucks. And now the men. Number 5, MJF, who returned to the ring this week and defeated Roosh. Number 4, Pac, who is in the Owen Hart tournament and has advanced to the semifinals already. Number 3, Kazuchika Okada, the current AEW Continental Champion and member of the Elite. Number 2, Will Ospreay, the AEW International Champion, still undefeated in AEW, as is Okada. And Ospreay, a member of the Callis family still. And number 1, Swerve Strickland, the AEW World Champion. So that's number 1, Swerve Strickland. Number 2, Will Ospreay. Number 3, Kazuchika Okada. Number 4, Pac. And number 5, MJF. And those are your top 5 ratings as per June 24th, 2024. All right, up next, I'm going to tell you the Dynamite matches coming up in 2 days from now from Buffalo, New York. We have an Owen Hart Foundation tournament match, Jay White versus Ray Phoenix. Should be awesome if they give them time. We have Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay teaming up to face the Gates of Agony. We have a trios match. World Women's Champion Toni Storm teams up with Mariah May and number 1 contender Mina Shirakawa, and they face the Outcasts, the team of Saraya, Anna Jay, and Harley Cameron. Also, they've advertised an MJF appearance, so I think we'll probably cut a promo on Hechicero, I guess. And the Forbidden Door matches
we will talk about on Thursday. Yeah, so feel free to join us Thursday at 7 p.m. right here, either on Twitter or YouTube, or I guess X rather, YouTube or Twitch, wherever you're watching us now. You can see us on Thursday. We're going to do a Forbidden Door preview and prediction show. We'll make our predictions that will apply to our AEW Prediction Championship, which I currently have had for the entire year of 2024. So you can find out how I'm going to retain it. You can also join us on Wednesday for an AEW Dynamite watch-along. That'll begin probably 10 minutes before 8, and we'll go through the duration of the show. And then same thing on Saturday for Collision, and then same thing on Sunday. We're going to start right at the start of Forbidden Door on Sunday. We're going to a independent wrestling show in our town Sunday afternoon, so we're not doing 0 hour for Forbidden Door, but we will be on for the main card.
A lot of wrestling for us this week. Awesome. So a lot of shows on, so hopefully you don't get sick of us.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have to fill in extra shows this week because they've missed us so much because we've been gone.
Yeah, we've been gone for 2 weeks. Yeah. So, folks, thank you for watching. Hopefully, you enjoyed our comeback episode of AEW Weekly. As Kay said, Dynamite watch along on Wednesday, Forbidden Door prediction show on Thursday, and watch along for Collision Saturday, and watch along for Forbidden Door Sunday. So join us. Hopefully, you'll enjoy those. And what?
And at some point between all those shows, you will find Asa posting a review of his Young Bucks shoes because they will finally get unboxed so I can see them because I want to pump them.
Yeah, either tonight or tomorrow, you'll see the Young Bucks shoe review.
I was never allowed to have pump shoes as a child when they were popular, and so I've never gotten to pump a shoe. So I'm pumping those shoes. I cannot wait.
I can't wait to see them again. I just took them out of the box for about 2 minutes and looked at them.
I was not here, so I didn't see them.
I'm gonna formally unbox them and we'll look at it together.
Yeah.
Also, I have a very big announcement coming up soon. It's a very big and very fun announcement involving wrestling, of course. So look for that. I'll make it on X and YouTube as well. So watch out for that. Because if you're a wrestling fan, I think you will enjoy it. So yeah. So thanks for watching, and as Mick Foley would say, have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye, folks.